to raise a digital citizen. And Diana's 6-word bio, generally optimistic, sometimes skeptical, always hopeful. Perfect for this time of year. All right, Diana, please come up.
So it's such a pleasure to get to meet Kelly. I'm like her #1 fan, so it's kind of an awesome, I can go home now. And I really want to take 1 minute of my time, a second of my time to thank the organizers, because I know you guys worked your butts off. And we so appreciate it. All right, so newsflash, it takes a village. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone in this room. What I'd like to do in my 10 minutes is talk about some of the communities in our village, or as Mary Alice and David like to call them, stakeholders. So you may have saw this little survey they sent out over Twitter in the summertime. And I took a good look at it, and I had a really hard time voting because I wanted to check all the boxes, and I don't think it let me do that. So I thought a lot about it the last couple weeks, and today I would like to propose the group that I think is the most important stakeholder, and that is the school administrator. They were on the list. They're sort of a subset of educator. And here's why. So in 2011, my oldest daughter, Elizabeth, was an 8th grader at a little school down in Southern California. And at that time, the kids were really into Facebook because it was pre-Snapchat and Instagram and all that. And so there was a girl in her class that every day she posted a picture of her and her friends. And she carefully curated these pictures so she looked really good in all the pictures, and her friends usually did not look so great. So, and the only reason I even knew about this is my daughter was one of the girls who unfortunately looked pretty bad in these pictures. And she pointed out to me, and we'd laugh over it, and it really didn't bother her very much. But there was a girl in this class, and it bothered her. So this girl took to the internet. She was a vlogger, and she made a video, and she said, "I really want to kill this girl," and did like a hand motion. Parents saw the video without the full context and immediately reported it to the new school administrator, who's here today somewhere. He'd been at our school for like 5 minutes, you know, and so he's got this cyberbullying incident blowing up with crying girls and irate parents, and I'm going, this is so awesome. Because I just finished a graduate program with Fielding Graduate University, who's a sponsor today. Where are you guys? Awesome. So I was one of the first students to get to be in their media psychology and social change program. And so, you know, I got to read the great work of Jason Oler, who's here, and Aaron Riley, who's here, and Mike Ribble. And so I was converted from it. I used to do video work, and now I was converted to this digital literacy world. And so this event plays out in front of me, and so I went to the school administrator and said, "Hey, would you mind if I volunteer to teach digital citizenship to the middle school kids, and we can kind of, you know, get ahead of the issue and preempt these problems in the future?" And he said, "Yes, can you start tomorrow?" So at the time, we had a series of weekly classes called Civics that we just turned into Cyber Civics, and thus our program was born. I'm going to back up just a second. So there's a couple things that are important about that story. Number one, he said yes, which is a really hard thing to do today because he was taking academic time away in middle school. Number two, when I said digital citizenship and literacy, he heard mumbo jumbo, right? You know, no idea what I was talking about. But what the words he heard was preempt problems, and that was my foot in the door. And what we learned from that little experiment is that when you teach digital citizenship and literacy, it's an open window to this stuff. This is the important stuff. Because we discovered that by giving the kids this great foundational base to be safe and responsible, they were ready and willing and excited to move on. So we added a second, third year of our program, and like, this is the secret sauce right here. This is the stuff that I really think kids need. So the result of this is that other schools asked for the program, and we put it online, and now there's kids, you know, in 23 states. So literally, this guy's yes has given thousands of kids these lessons. So that's why I think the administrator is the most important person. But of course, hand in hand is the teacher, and often it's the teacher who's the advocate that will take these things into the classroom. But you guys all know, man, it's hard to be a teacher today. You have to do so much. And so when we meet with these people, they're like, how the heck am I going to cram another lesson into my day? And I don't have the answer for that, but I think together we can figure it out. A story I like to tell teachers when I go visit them is like, one day I was teaching and I overheard these two girls talking, and one said to the other, "I don't understand why we have Cyber Civics once a week and we have algebra 5 times a week. I'm going to use this so much more." And I'm like, yes, you're right. They will use it a lot more. Okay, so you saw in the previous slide that parents, they think that we're like 54% responsible. Yeah, like we don't have enough to do already, right? So the first year that I was teaching, I did this lesson with the kids, and it was called To Share or Not to Share. So of course, the question of parents oversharing came up. And so on the way out, a little boy said to me, Mrs. Graber, you really need to teach these lessons to my mom. And I said, hey kid, you're onto something. So that was the year that my another fielding graduate and I, Cynthia Lieberman, who's probably tweeting away right now.
She is.
She can't be here because she's hooked to Twitter. But anyway, so we launched CyberWise, No Grown-Up Left Behind. And in the course of this work, I'm really lucky to get to meet with a lot of parents. And I just did a parent meeting a couple weeks ago with Shelley Kelly. Where are you? We met with a bunch of parents, and the first thing we do is that we say, when we say technology and kids, what's the first word that pops in your head? There's their words. A lot of fear, a lot of trepidation. And you know, the thing about fear, it's paralyzing. So when you're stuck in this place, you never get to that window with all those great lessons because you're too worried about cyberbullying. So I think should be a Hippocratic oath, is that the right word, for people in our industry, that if we're going to say one negative thing about technology, we have to say two positive things. And we have to start giving solutions instead of rehashing old problems. So with that said, I want to move to my favorite stakeholder group. Kern, you are so awesome.
Wait, something just crazy happened. Hold on. You.
So I'm going to keep talking while they fix. This is so typical.
Tech happens.
Tech happens. So, you know, when I teach, I don't even feel like a teacher. I feel like I'm a facilitator, creating a safe space where kids can negotiate the social norms they'll take into their own online world. And I feel very grateful for that. I wish that more people could do that because I really think that's what we need to provide. These are some of my students. It comes from a lesson that we do called Myself, My Selfie. Van Gogh is not one of my students, in case you were wondering. But we do take a look at some of the great painters to figure out what are they saying through their image, whether it's painted or taken with a camera. So we learn a lot by doing that. Aren't they so cute?
So cute.
You can just learn so much by looking at those faces. But anyway, when you say to kids, what do you think about when I say technology? Their eyes light up and they have words like this. So completely different, except for the word challenging, which I'm sure they mean entirely differently, right? Yeah. So the other thing I get to do is after I take this 3-year journey with the kids, I always ask them, what was your favorite lesson? And I hope you can read that, but it's funny to me that like kids love to learn about copyright. I mean, who knew fair use could be so much fun? So I think it's because it's super relevant to their life and it's visual. They love Photoshop lessons, and my favorite thing is the last one. There is nothing not important that I learned. I think that kind of says it all. But you know, a lot of times when I take this journey with the kids at the end of 8th grade, I'm really curious if they remember the digital citizenship stuff that we did at the very beginning. So I got my answer a couple years ago when a new girl entered the class and she had not had the first year. So the first thing, you know, first week, she posts a picture of herself on Instagram in a bikini in a very provocative pose. So this 8th grade boy walks into the class straight to her and he says, that picture on Instagram, really stupid for your digital footprint, you should take it off. And I thought to myself, okay, it wasn't done with the best finesse. That's exactly what we want these kids to do, so it's pretty awesome. Okay, industry. I was surprised they came in at 0 because, you know, frankly, we really need the industry's help. I mean, come on, seriously. We're lucky at CyberWise to have 2 great partners, Kids Email and Surfy. I wish there were 10 more logos on there because we could do 10 times more work. So I'm going to use as an example the app Musical.ly, and I do not want to throw them under the bus because they're a great app. It's really fun. If you don't know what it is, it's like, you know, karaoke, music video combined. And a lot of young kids really, really love it. And that's what I'm hearing when I go around the villages. These moms come up to me and say, oh my gosh, my 2nd grader's on Musical.ly and she's got like 200 followers. What do I do? And I'm like, well, you know, you're supposed to be 13 to be on that app. And the parents are like, no, what are you talking about? And so I tried downloading it, and then you go through all the things that never really asks you your age, and it doesn't really indicate, and it's buried in the terms of agreement, which of course every 2nd grader reads, right? So my point is, we need each other because it's not fair to parents or teachers to have to backpedal and to go digging for this information. And I just feel like all of us really deserve to have a place at this table. So that being said, I would like to do a call to action at the end because otherwise this is just a bunch of words. But look around today and identify somebody that you've never seen before, that you've never met. And before the day is over, go up to that person and say, what do you need? Because I think if we do that with each other, we can start helping each other move this dialogue out of these four walls. Because you know what? It really does take a village to raise a digital citizen. So thank you so much.